Well, this video was supposed to be a look back at Captain America, the First Avenger, but as I was watching it, I realized there were quite a few similarities from Captain America's first movie and Captain Marvel's movie. Both of them are retrofitted movies into the story of the MCU. They have to go to the past and fit them in. Although Captain America, again, was weaved through the story. There's certainly, with Iron Man is not so much there, but there is the mention of his father and all that. And he going back, you realize it's setting things up. Then, of course, the Hulk, way more of setting up for Captain America, where the super soldier serum is what they're trying to recreate, trying to figure out how to do that, how to start a new super soldier program, and it turns Dr. Banner into the Hulk and all that. And there was a scene that was cut out where Banner tries to commit suicide, and he's around in the North Pole or somewhere in that area, the Arctic, and he tries to commit suicide. I don't know if he actually was able to fire the gun in the scene or not, but anyway, he hulks out before he can do it, or the Hulk, and that's that. But then the Hulk's angry and he smashes the area, and then off to the side you see a chunk of ice, and there's Captain America frozen in it. Well, they cut that out because I guess the plans changed about how they were going to do it or what have you. And the scene doesn't really fit in as the story as it is. He never goes to the Arctic, so they took it out. But nevertheless, that doesn't matter. The plot and the super soldier program and all that, and when you see Tim Roth's character get they pretty much have the formula recreated there, it seems like, because he certainly moved a lot like Captain America when he was fighting the Hulk before the Hulk still beats him. Captain America's no match for the Hulk's strength. And then, of course, he turns into the Abomination and all that. But so Captain America is being weaved into the story. Captain Marvel gets none of that because they didn't think of it. She's slapped on, and which is why slapping her on right at the tail end of their what is this, phase 3 or whatever, it just doesn't work. Bringing her in their next phase of movies, possibly having elements and stories revealed in Infinity War and Endgame might have been a cool thing, and Guardians and whatnot, just little teasers here and there, and then she appears in her own film down the road, or in another Avengers movie is introduced, something like that. But she's just slapped on here, and pretty bad. So Captain America, the First Avenger, you get his origin story, and unlike with Iron Man, which is a broken, an arrogant man who gets broken and rebuilt into a hero, which is there's a lot of potential and drama there and whatnot. And with the Hulk story of the man afraid he's a monster, only to come to terms with the fact that he isn't, but in the goodness of him is what keeps everything in line, despite the problem and the rage of power. Captain America is a guy who, right off the bat, he's already a heroic figure in his heart and his soul. He's a good man, and he desperately wants to help. He wants to do as much as he can, but he's in a sickly body. And boy, I tell you, it's a long time ago, but the effects work on that to make Chris Evans look like that small little skinny guy is really great. It holds up, in my opinion, anyway. So you do all that, and of course you have the addition of a romance with Peggy, and this sets up, because at the end seemingly he dies, but of course we know he gets frozen. But as far as they're concerned, he's gone. He had to sacrifice himself to save New York from the Red Skull's bomber. And there you have the emotion set up for how important Captain America, or Steve Rogers, was to Peggy. And so there's the remorse and the loss, and also the heartbreak when he awakens in the modern world, and Nick Fury tells him what's happened, and he's like, well, I had a date, and it's just, it's really, again, it's heartbreaking. It's really a gripping scene there, and then that's that. So and the tale of, like, his soul and his heart is vital to the plot, because the super soldier serum, as Dr. Erskine explains, will increase what you are. So For Smith, the Red Skull, he's already an evil bastard for whatever reason. Who cares? There's no excuse. He's an evil bastard. And when he takes the serum, he becomes even worse. He turns into a monster. He becomes the Red Skull. If you remember the original Swamp Thing movie, a similar thing happened there. But anyway, that's the basic template and idea of what happened with Erskine's formula. And so Captain America becomes this muscle-bound, super strong super soldier guy. And so there you go. And of course, he's wasted on propaganda pieces and whatnot. And it's interesting how they did that. They were clever in their ways to pay homage to the comic book without having to actually copy it, panel by panel. And so he's actually wearing the Captain America outfit. It's just a pair of tights with the wings on his head and everything. But it's at these shows, So when he really gets into the action and actually fighting in the war, well, he's got a more practical, basically just, a pair of pants and the shirt with the red, white, and blue symbols on it. So off he goes into that. And it flows well, and again, like I said, an homage to the comic book without being a direct result of it, but it's telling his story almost exactly, probably even more so than Iron Man did. But this is what you do, and it works, and there was no reason to change it into something else. And I always wondered at one time, would they just drop the World War II bit and say he was a super soldier in Iraq or something like that? And it just no. And keeping Captain America as a part of World War II is like that era. It was the dawn of the superhero genre, so it's always going to be sort of connected to it one way or another. And now, of course, as time goes on, it's like, good Lord, how long is he going to have to stay in that ice for the story to fit in with the contemporary times of whenever it's being doled out in whatever media it will be. Well, that's for the future to worry about. But as far as the film goes, it hits on all cylinders. It doesn't miss a beat, in my opinion. And the Captain America films are probably the best. I'm always going to be in favor of the first Iron Man, but they're probably the best of what the Marvel movies have put out. And of course, we get eventually Winter Soldier, which is the absolute best they've done. And that's on par with plot and story and performance and timing and everything like that, which goes together. And noticing that everyone brings up the humor of the Marvel movies as their selling point, and it's being overemphasized now. At the time, yeah, there's humor in them, but it's not really on the nose as much as it is now. And in a lot of scenes, I think it's taken away from the drama of the story. A great debut for Captain America, a solid story, and a development of his character as he's dealing with the power and becoming sure of himself, and his relationships, and developing his love for Peggy, and it's all very sad in the end. And then developing his friendship with Bucky. They establish it, they show it. He saves Bucky, and then he loses him. And it's the horrible scene. Of course, it's setting up Winter Soldier, of course, but nevertheless, there's all of that depth and character and performance. Meanwhile, in Captain Marvel, well, she has a friend too, but just like everything else about Captain Marvel, she's just sort of slapped on, and then she's great, she's wonderful, she's amazing, and then that's it. And Captain Marvel, instead of sacrificing herself or anything, she just leaves. She's gonna help the Skrulls find a home. I guess it took her 20 years. I don't know. Boy, they did not think this through, and I don't know. But But there again, there are the elements there where she's transformed, but it's just kind of an accident. And her personality, there is an explanation there because it's stripped from her so that her memories aren't there and the Kree were manipulating her and everything. But that's about it. There's no real development for what she's lost. That could have been a very powerful thing and a very tragic thing for her. You know it happened, but it's not really displayed. It's not fleshed out and performed there that, man, they robbed her whole life, you know, it's all gone and she can't get it back. In the comic book, there were instances like that. Of course, it was Rogue who did it, where she became pretty stone cold, you know, and it's because her humanity was completely removed. Here you have this with the Kree doing it, but it's not really captured, I don't think. And I mean, you know, they're pushing the story along and getting along, but it seems like they could have figured that out where that could have mattered. But there's a few quick scenes with Maria and everything, but it just doesn't come together. And but the friendship with Maria, it's just you don't see it established. You only get a few brief flashbacks here and there, and just, yeah, they were friends. So they're just telling you the case. They're not really showing it the way it was in Captain America. So they pretty much failed Captain Marvel in delivering her a story, at least in her own movie. As far as the problems, they've already failed her by not weaving her into the Marvel Universe storyline, but what are you going to do? They just want to hurry up and get her in there before it's all over. Yeah, so Captain America, the First Avenger, still holds up, stands alone, and shows you how it's done. And it's odd because you already had that, and still they missed it for Captain Marvel. And there's all this talk about she's the new Captain, because Captain America is probably going to die in Endgame, or be whisked away in some other dimension where he can live with the ghost of Peggy or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, going for Captain Marvel is the big deal. Well, she never earned it in the comics. Certainly not in the version they have her now. And you do have to earn that. And Captain America had been a long-established character going into it, so it's not the same thing. And they haven't even given her a good movie. So that's on them, not the audience. But the Marvel brand is still strong. It got her $1 billion, so of that and saturating the theaters and blah, blah, blah. But still, the Marvel brand is still strong until they deliver their Last Jedi. And then you can die overnight. Just ask Star Wars. All right, there you go. Captain Marvel kind of barged in on my review of Captain America, the First Avenger, but there you go. Captain America, the First Avenger. Thank you for watching and listening. And hey, why not like and subscribe? And if you have subscribed, thank you very much. And hey, while you're here, check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you.